Okay, so I already spoken to how large language models work. So we're going to move to prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is going to set the pace for everything we're going to do going forward. Um, I'll just go back one slide just to prove. Okay, another slide. Remember, LLMs work with taking your input and giving us the desired output, right? Now, let's practice, before we get into prompt engineering, let us practice what I call output thinking. I need answers. What kind of answers do I need from a large language model? The moment I know my output, it becomes easy for me to frame my input. So prompt engineering, or if you prefer, context engineering, which I would use preferably, is the practice of ensuring that your instruction guides the AI model to produce your desired output. So what is your desired output? Matter of fact, I always say to anyone who wants to get better at prompting to begin by writing out your output. Write out your output, then take your output, craft your instructions. Now, how do you craft your instructions or your input to ensure that you get the desired output? You must ensure that you set a persona. Are you asking this question as a journalist, or are you asking as a parent? Now, what is the objective of the question? Clearly stated. What are the constraints that you want to put in? What format do you want the data? Do you want it in a tabular structure? And do you have a few examples? I'm just going to walk us through a few slides and then we'll go right into prompt engineering, just to prove to everyone that prompt engineering is what everyone really needs to get better at this. So the difference between a basic prompt and an expertly engineered prompt is context. It is context. And that's why I said I prefer to call it context engineering, because that's what differentiates the inaccurate generic responses with very precise tailored answers. So when you want to prompt with any AI tool, remember, I gave some examples here. You must have a persona, you must have an objective, you must have a format, you must have some examples. So this is how it should go. Your prompt must have the following elements. What do you want AI to adopt? What specific outcome do you desire? What are your limitations? So instead of writing a prompt that says, write me an email about the project update, you want to give it context. Act as a project manager, writing to what kind of stakeholders? Create a brief project update email highlighting timeline changes and resource needs. Keep it under 200 words constraint. That means it must not exceed 200 words. Use a professional but friendly tone, similar to our previous communications. Now, I'm going to quit my sharing and I would reshare my AI screen again. And we would test with those two examples I just shared. Okay. I believe everyone can see my screen now. Just going to maximize this a little. Open ChatGPT. So the first prompt says, write me an email about the project update. Everyone will agree with me that that's a weak prompt, right? Because it doesn't give us any context. So I throw that into ChatGPT. Let me use the instant so it gives me responses faster. Okay, took the picture, that's probably why. Okay, so yeah. So you see, it doesn't give me, it gives me a project update letter, but it doesn't even know what the project name is. So you see, no context. Dear recipient name, it doesn't even know who the letter is going to. So see, we've completed, doesn't even know what milestone or what phase we are in. So that's what happens when you don't give the AI adequate context, right? And then, of course, at the end of the, doesn't even tell us who the project manager is. So that's what happens when you use a weak prompt. On the alternative, if we now go on and pick a very detailed prompt that says act as a project manager, writing to, I can give it more context. I would say, act as a project manager, writing to stakeholders on an AI, let me make it more, I'd say ChatGPT 5 upgrade project. See, I've given it context. We're doing a ChatGPT 5 upgrade project. Create a brief project update email, highlighting timeline changes and resource needs. Let me be specific, for September to December 2025. Keep it on, let me say 300 words. I want to see, then use a professional tone, right? You will see there's a lot different. See, now we have a project update with a detailed name, ChatGPT 5 upgrade, September to December 2025. Dear stakeholders, I didn't specify stakeholders, so you just picked stakeholders. But you see that there's a difference between the previous one and this one. So it specifies the resource needs. It also shares next steps. So this is what prompt engineering helps us to fix. Now, I'm sure someone is asking a question. How do you even know what prompts to use or how best to use prompts? I would say it depends, right? And that would bring us back to, I'm going to go back to my slides and continue again. Okay, so back here. Okay, so it's basically about writing the right, using effective instructions. Now, I'm also going to showcase to you how you can teach your large language model, doesn't matter whether it's ChatGPT or Claude AI, how to also write effective prompts for you, okay? But you have to use persona. If you have been writing prompts and you're not using personas, you're probably not getting the right answers or the right output you seek. Structure your output. How do you want your output? Do you want it to be in a tabular format? Do you want to use delimiters? So instead of saying, tell me about marketing strategies, which is too vague, doesn't specify the audience, you can say, act as a chief marketing officer for a D2C skincare brand, right? Outline 3 digital marketing strategies, and for each strategy, include target audience, platform, cost, range, and expected outcomes. That way, you then build better prompts, right? Now, same thing applies when you are trying to validate your prompts. You have to give the large language model the concept behind the reasoning. You know, like if you look at this example, it says, solve this problem step by step. A store sells shirts for $25 each. They are offering buy two, get one free. How much would 7 shirts cost? Show your reasoning before giving the final answer. Now, this is a context that I normally use when I get when my kids want to try to understand the concept. Like my son's trying to learn trigonometry and geometry, and it requires a lot of theorems and proofs, right? So whenever I sit with him and I'm trying to prove to him, while the area of a triangle is half length, half base times height, it says to me, why does a triangle have a base? Why does it need a height? There are fundamental first principles thinking, but when those kind of questions starts to come, it begins to prove to you that, okay, we're thinking out of the box. And in order to think out of the box, we need to ask the right set of questions. And that's one of the things that context or prompt engineering really speaks to. So I would just do something very quickly. I would throw that same math question here. Say, solve this problem. So it's going to solve the problem and show how the problem is solved. So it starts by showing the price per share to the deal. Then it goes into, so this is called, it's like you break the prompts down into different sets. Some people will say you call this breaking the prompt. So you see that it uses steps, because I said show your reasoning before giving the final answer and solve this problem step by step. So let me give another instance. Now, let's say I'm a developer and I want to write a Python code that will analyze the top 5 performing or top 10 performing stocks on the New York Stock Exchange and give me, so I would say, let me borrow this, solve this problem step by step, right? And I would say, generate a Python code that helps me to analyze the top 10 stocks in the NYSE. Solve this problem step by step. Ensure that you explain what the code is doing in every step and provide relevant visualizations. Sorry, that's obviously not me, yeah? Okay, so it starts by explaining step 1, install the libraries. So that's the code to install the libraries. Then next thing, list the top 10 stocks in the New York Stock Exchange. Download the historical data. So it downloads 1 year worth of data. Calculate the daily returns. It calculate the returns, summarize the performance, visualize the reports, the results. So this actually helps me to plot a bar chart. And then this helps me plot a scatter plot. And the final output shows me the summary of the top 10 stocks. Maybe during Q&A, we would go through what this code looks like. But for those who think that programming was a mystery, large language models can now help you to be able to write programs that can solve a lot of business problems very quickly. So like I said, it all begins with an idea. What is your idea? Now let's speak to tools. There are a lot of AI tools out there, but our focus for today's session would be on this top 5 or top 6 that I have listed here. So we've got the chat assistants, which are AI that we use for writing, brainstorming, and problem solving. We've got the coding copilots, that's AI codes that help us to write code. Sorry, Taya, can you please mute everyone? Just, if you need to just mute everyone. When I'm muted, I will unmute myself so that this doesn't get into the recording, because thank you. I noticed that someone is annotating on the screen. Maybe we need to take away the annotation permission? Okay, so coding copilots help us to write code, meeting and note tools. AI that helps with transcription. There's a particular AI tool, apart from Copilot, there's Otter.ai. It listens into your meetings and summarizes all that you're saying. I think Zoom also does that, generates a transcript of the meeting. Then we've got Data Helpers, which is AI that is used for spreadsheet analysis and visualization, as well as AI tools that can help with automation. We probably won't be able to go through all of them, but I will pick a use case for chat assistants, coding pilots, meeting and note tools, and maybe design and visuals. So we'll look at some AI that can use for creating slides and diagrams as we go on. So we're getting to the next phase now. The next phase is where we talk about AI tools. And then the last part will be, the last 1 hour would be when we talk about how we can use AI tools to improve our resumes, our LinkedIn profiles, the things that we do every day. So I already gave you a list. AI assistants are ChatGPT, Claude, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. They are good for drafting documents, brainstorming, and summarizing documents. Transcription tools, I already mentioned Otter AI, Google Copilot, Google Meet, as well as Zoom transcription, as well as email tools. I'm sure everyone knows now, when you open your email, you see that if you use Gmail, Google wants to help you summarize your emails, same as Copilot. And then, of course, Gamma is used for slide presentation. So we're going to go through some of these tools, maybe not all of them. In order to discuss them, we would need to understand the various areas. So I already started by showing you how developers will generate code using AI. So AI can help us generate code, but then we have to then run that code, test the code, be sure that the code works, and then we can use the same AI to generate an explanation of the code, create documentation, and do code reviews. In product management, I don't know if there's anyone who is a product manager here who manages products, or you work as an operations manager in any organization. You can use AI to do your market research. You can use AI to do your product documentation. You can use AI to manage communications with stakeholders. It's already happening today. If you're someone that creates process mapping, document resource requirements, as well as gap analysis, we can use AI to do those things. There are tools that do that today. I'm going to move very quickly because we're almost on the 2nd hour mark. So I already spoke to developers, spoken to product managers, spoken to business analysts. I will just take us straight to the tool. So we'll begin to use the tools and see how that works. I probably will spend some time on entrepreneurship because I know most people here maybe probably are thinking of starting a business or have started a business. So you can create a prompt that helps you to create a business plan, create an outline, discuss your target market, and create social media posts that you can use to kick off immediately. Okay, so let me go back here and let me stop sharing. We're going to go now to, we're going to go back to the AI. Sure, everyone can still see my screen. Okay, so we're going to go to, we'll come back to our Python code when we're on break so that everyone will see how that actually works, or if the code works correctly, or if the AI didn't do well at it. Now, I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Remember, I said one of the key challenges is that your output is a function of your input. So let's say that I'm not very good at writing prompts. So I want ChatGPT or any AI of my choice, right? So that no one thinks that I have a bias for ChatGPT. I will start on my Gemini also, because I also have Gemini. Okay. So Gemini is up now, but I'll come back to it. Now, and I'm not very good with prompts, so I'd say to ChatGPT, can you help me create a prompt that would help me write a one-page business plan that would enable me start a YouTube channel that can grow from 5 to 500 subscribers in 6 months. My YouTube channel would speak on how to prompt effectively. So I'm not asking to do anything. I said you should create a prompt for me. You should create a prompt that will help me write a one-page business plan that will enable me to start a YouTube channel that can grow from 5 to 500 subscribers, right? Now, that's the question. Can you? Now, I've now informed you that my YouTube channel would speak, let me use or teach on how to prompt effectively. Create a prompt. Excellent. So, see, it says act as a business strategist and YouTube growth consultant. Write me a one-page business plan for a new YouTube channel focused on teaching people how to prompt effectively, AI prompting, ChatGPT prompts, productivity with prompts. The plan must be concise, professional, and practical, covering the following sections. Now, it says keep the plan under one page, written in simple and engaging business language, aiming at making 500 subscribers in 6 months. Now, it's not cast in stone. I can still go back and change that prompt, right? But instead of one page, let me make it 2 or 3 pages. Okay, so I'd say 3 pages because I want to see more, right? Yeah, so it gives me a vision. It even gives me a channel name, Prompt Mastery Hub. Because you have to first of all check if that name is available on YouTube, right? Yeah, then it goes vision, mission, who is the target audience, right? What is the unique value proposition, right? What's the content strategy? What's the posting frequency? What is the growth strategy? What is the monetization long-term potential? Now, if I had to do this manually, I probably would have just gone to YouTube, created a page, then anytime my mind tells me to create a video, I create a video. But you see, what this tool helps you to do is it helps you to build a system of sorts, right? And once I've asked this question, I can keep asking questions because this information is saved in memory. So I can come back here and say, okay, give me a 30 days content plan based on the business plan that you have created. So as we are watching this, I'm sure everyone here is thinking, okay, what do I do every day? Can I take that thing that I do every day, put it into this beautiful tool and generate content and then go on to shoot my channel? Okay. Now, so that, like I said, it doesn't look like everything I'm doing is on ChatGPT. I'm going to go and take the initial prompt question here, and we'll go do the same on Gemini. So I've got Gemini here. So I'm going to ask Gemini the same question. Same question, not changing anything. It will first of all create a prompt. Now, it's important that I put some context here. I'm using paid versions of these tools, so it's very imperative. If you use the free versions, I cannot guarantee that you will get very succinct answers like this, but I might be wrong, but that's what I think. So see, so it's giving me a detailed plan, and then I can go back and take this. This is the prompt that it's created, right? So I take that prompt. Now, the reason why it's important that we do this on Gemini is because Google are actually the owners of YouTube. So if I really want to get data that is as close to what I'm being told, I probably want to test it with the actual owners of YouTube. I'm just gonna close this one. Still there somewhere. Yeah. And so it will go on to, yeah. Yeah, so it gives me my mission statement, gives me my goal, gives me target audience, gives me unique value proposition, gives me content strategy, tells me the kind of video format, my posting schedule. So it recommends that I have one main video every week and then 2 to 3 YouTube shorts per week. And then it says target keywords for each video, how to write better ChatGPT prompts. So the point I'm just trying to bring out here is that if you ask the right questions, you will get the right outcomes. But it begins with understanding the context, which is why I said I would rather call prompt engineering context engineering. I would rather call it context engineering. So I just want to see, we still have 8 minutes. Let me see how much slides I have to go. Okay, so okay, one last tool before we move. So we've done the process of creating prompts or generating prompts out of the large language models, and we've used 2 large language models, Google Gemini, and we've also used ChatGPT. I'm going to use 2 more tools before we go. The first one will be Otter.ai. Then the second one will be Gamma. I probably will start with Gamma. So let's start with Gamma. So remember, this is my Google prompt here. Okay. So I have another question I need to go and ask my Google Gemini. Remember, after we asked for the vision of the prompt, we then asked ChatGPT to give us a 30-day content, right? Now, I'm going to copy this. Give me a 30 days content plan based on the business plan that you've created. So ChatGPT has given us a 4 weeks plan, right? So it broke it in 2 weeks. Let me see what Gamma does. I'll close this, show this here. Now to give me a 30-day content plan starting from today based on the business plan that you have created. Okay. So it's going to give me a 30-day plan. Not sure if it's this is interesting. Gamma, okay. Okay. So it breaks it. Oh, it still gives me a week. Okay. So yeah, this is giving me day 1, Monday, today. Focus, introduce the channel and absolute basics of prompting. So this is for today. Now, let's imagine, I don't want everything. Let's just take this. Let's imagine that, sorry. So I take this. I only want day 1, but I'll take out the week 1. It says, introduce the channel and the absolute basics of prompting. September 1, what is prompting in 60 seconds? Now, let's imagine that I'm an ultimate context engineer, and I don't want to even sit down to create the video. So I come to Gemini and I say, create a prompt. So I'm just showing you how to master prompt engineering. That helps me to create a 60 seconds YouTube short that is based on, then I specify my focus, introduce the channel and the absolute basics of prompting, right? I'll show you where I'm going to with this. Okay. Sorry, just I'm a stickler for grammar. Create a prompt that helps me create a 60-second YouTube short that is based on week 1, the foundation. Okay, no, I don't need the dates, but I can leave week 1. My focus is this. The YouTube short is titled "What is Prompting in 60 Seconds." So I'm going to take this, take it up there. Let me create the YouTube based on the what is prompting in 60 seconds. Okay. Sorry, I don't know if my machine is okay. So it gives a description. We hope to introduce the channel's topic, explain simply that prompting is a skill of. Okay, so I don't need this one here. Okay, so I'm going to go back up just to be sure that I gave it the right context. Create a prompt that helps me to create a YouTube 60 seconds YouTube shorts video on InVideo.ai. InVideo.ai it's an AI platform that allows you to create videos, right? That is based on, so it's going to create the script, the prompt that I will use on InVideo AI. So it's thinking, okay, let me copy this same thing. Okay. So it's created the script, but it's not done yet. Sorry, this is the part where the rubber meets the road. So this part is usually boring, but this is really the part where the work of context or prompt engineering comes in. So I'm going to copy this, okay? And I will also put this here on ChatGPT. Okay, so ChatGPT is also going to generate its own prompt. Okay, so while it's doing that, I'm going to launch my video tool. It's called InVideo.ai. So it allows you to create videos without limits. I have a free login. So this one, I used to pay for the subscription, but not anymore. so yeah, we would use a free version, but the free version has a limit. So we see that, let me see. Okay, let me use the advanced model and see. Okay, so I would go back to Google. Just give me a few more minutes. Let me show you case this before we get to Q&A, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions. So I'll take this is the Google prompt. So we're doing a 60 seconds video. This is my video. I will throw all that prompt in here. You see why context engineering or prompt engineering, if you prefer to call it, is very important. If what I provide here is not good enough, then my video will not be good enough. So it's going to create a video. So while this is going on, yeah, it's going to take some time to create the video. I'll go to Gamma. Okay. Gamma helps you create beautiful PowerPoint presentations and as well as document. Sorry, okay, everyone can still see my screen. I'm most certain of that because I can see that my screen is green. Okay, cool. So I go to Gamma and I would say, so I have that, oh no, I don't want those full prompts. Sorry. Take this out. Where's my previous? Sorry. Let's go to ChatGPT. Yeah, so I'm going to take this, create a prompt that helps me create but I'll ask you to do a PowerPoint presentation. I'll just make some changes. So let's see. Okay, so we're done with this. I would go to Gemini and say, same prompt, but I would say, create a prompt that helps me to create a maybe 10 slide deck or decks on Gamma. So see that I'm still using constraints, yeah? I said 10 slide deck. That is based on what is prompting in 60 seconds. Create a prompt that helps me to think like an AI educator and master storyteller. Sorry. And create 10 slide decks on Gamma that are based on what is prompting in 60 seconds. Now, I don't need this, but I can leave my focus. My focus, I don't need introduce the channel. Don't think I need all that. Let's see, let me leave that. Okay, let me leave my focus. Let's see what else we have. We don't need YouTube Shorts. Title, idea, what is prompting in 60 seconds. I can leave that there. Description. Let me say, a series of slides that explain simply that prompting is the skill of talking to AI to get what you want. So it's going to give me a prompt that I would take and put into Gamma, and I will get a presentation maybe in 15, 20 minutes. Okay. So generating the prompts. Tayo, just give me 2 more minutes, and then we can go to Q&A. 2 minutes.
Okay, no problem. We are here.
Okay, so we've gotten our cards from card 1 to 10. So we know we're going to do a 10 slide presentation. So I've copied the script. So I'm going to go to Gamma. Now, I would use a presentation, obviously. And then I would describe what I want to make. So see, I have specified generate a 10 slide presentation. My role, I'm an AI educator and a master storyteller. My goal, create a presentation, target audience, professionals, students and creators, tone and style, card title from card 1 or slide 1 to slide 10. Now, so we got all that. I don't need to edit the prompt, but I don't know why. Okay, so now I'm here. Gamma allows me to generate new words or preserve the existing words. I can preserve the existing words that the prompt has generated. So for every words, it will just create them. But I would rather use generate. So let it generate new words. Because I'm using it for a YouTube channel, I'd rather make it concise or minimal, because you don't want to have too many texts when you're speaking to your audience, right? So let's say minimal, okay? And then I use free form. So I know I only want 10 slides because I've told it 10 cards and I'm giving it how it should go. Maybe I'll use Pale as my background, and then I would use AI images, and I would just tell it to proceed with generating. So once I issue the word generate, it begins to generate the slides. Yeah. So it starts creating the slides, the act of talking to AI, how prompting. Yeah. So that's going on. In video is also going on. In video is done now. So it says, who are the audience? I say AI beginners and students. Duration is 1 minute because I already instructed it, and it's a YouTube short. So I can do Instagram Reels or I can do TikTok, but for now, we're doing YouTube short. So I say generate. So it's going to generate the video. And I ask it to notify me when it's ready. Okay, I'll just put it for now. I'll turn it off later because I hope it doesn't notify me when I'm at work. Okay, so Gamma should be, oh, still ongoing. Okay, almost there. Yes, so we have 10 slides from Gamma, which I can present to you right away. So if I was running a YouTube channel, I could come with my PowerPoint slides and speak to the slides. And in 60 seconds, I should hopefully be done. That's the goal. So for those who say that AI is going to take over jobs, I hope that I've been able to showcase to you that it will take away jobs, agreed. You will no longer need a secretary to prepare your PowerPoint slides, but you would be able to now generate prompts while you're fetching a cup of coffee and still be able to go in and have your presentation and still add value to the organization or the team. And I hope with these few points of mine, we've been able to end the second hour on a very strong note. Thank you.